Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our coverage of The Circle, Season 7 here at RHAP. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and we are here today to talk about the finale of The Circle Season 7. With me to talk about it, it's Pooya. How you doing, Pooya?
I'm doing great. What a fun. We've been talking about how fun the season is. I thought the finale was great too. A lot of good moments. And I think a very, very good fun winner.
I feel like it's possible I've said this before, but it really feels this. I mean, this has to be the most dominant winner of The Circle
Uh
ever.
Three influencer spots, immediately from sixth place to first and never lower. Yeah, I think it's safe to say.
I
I
mean,
would
maybe
put
maybe
them up
you
there.
maybe you knock their game a little bit for being almost the first blocked, if not for a disruptor twist, but, like,
Mhm.
I mean, that hardly counts, right?
I mean, Taryn, you talk about how a Big Brother player who got evicted technically winning is a little bit of a, bad on the
I mean,
record.
it's a very different situation.
I don't know. I was just trying to rile you up for no reason. No
Mhm.
reason, unprompted. Yeah, no, I think this has to be the most dominant winner. I really do. Maybe we go to season one and maybe there's an argument to be made because I feel like Joey did pretty decently there.
Mhm.
But recent memory, hands down.
Yeah, I mean, just, basically controlled every single, elimination. I mean, even when Gianna, our
Mhm.
winners, um, influencer 3 times, blocked 3 people, was in control, was a part of the plan to take out Andy, as the lowest rated player when there was no blocking, and then, you know, call it a, whatever you want, twist of fate. Madeline's final blocking was basically, doing the will of Gianna. So, like, I don't know exactly who Gianna would have blocked. It seemed like at the end in the finale, they were like, "Oh, it wouldn't have been you," but I don't know who it would have been. Maybe Tiara, but like, whatever the case may be, basically in control of every single blocking this season.
Yeah, I just give it a quick check, and I think Frank would have been the closest person
I
to
remember Frank
having.
being pretty dominant.
Yeah, Frank had a. There were three rankings, or four, you can in the super secret one or secret super one. And of those four, got first three times and then a third one time.
Mhm.
So Frank may be the only other person in contention here, but I feel like
I think
this.
I think Frank was the person I was thinking about when I was like, I think I've said this before. I think Frank was the one that I was perhaps talking about. Although, I think I don't know. Frank was definitely good.
Mhm. I agreed, but I feel like with Gianna, it felt like Gianna had to play a harder game, just given the cast and the energy the cast brought. I feel like there was constant movement that you had to factor into. There were so the amount of enemies Gianna had, or people that looked at Gianna and thought you are a threat to the game, and Gianna still was able to hold down the first position. I think it's worth saying something.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, just totally dominant run through this game, and picking up allies that were very loyal, building groups, and then cutting away the support systems for their biggest threats, and then winning. And how fitting as well at the end that it's Kevin and Gianna once more, one final time, sitting there at the top 2 spots.
Yeah, this kind of becomes their story in a weird way. I think a lot of people have their stories fleshed out, which is why I think the circle did a fine job of not introducing a lot of people late. Kind of just we had technically one person added onto the cast because I would argue that episode 2 editions are pretty much episode 1. But with having only one person added, I just felt like I understood everyone and saw everyone's story play out this season, which I thought was great.
Yeah. Um, but man, yeah, they started this episode with a shock blocking. I really did not see this coming. I feel like usually the circle does not usually surprise me, I would say.
Mhm.
I would say most of the time I am pretty, like, keyed into what's about to happen, but I was just like Jadeja was, when Madeline walked in that room. Jadeja was like, "Oh, hey, wait, what?" Which was also my reaction. I was just like, "Oh, look, it's Jadeja. Greeting wait, what?"
I feel like it's at this point that Madeline loses the game. I think getting rid of Jadeja was definitely the wrong move here. I feel like this is someone who would have definitely been better for your game. Someone who could have maybe absorbed a couple of lower ratings than you even down the line here, which would have been fine. Because I think ultimately, when all is said and done, it is not a surprise to me that our ending is the same two people, first and second, because you kept the same people that had the higher ratings, who were rating each other highly. So they got the exact same formula down pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, clearly Gianna had a structure around her that was continuously rating her high, regardless of the fact that she was high the whole time. And you know, and it's like Madeline knew this too. Like, it's not like Madeline can claim ignorance about the 2 of them. They had to share all of their info. Rachel gave hashtag Rachana, like, "She's my number 1," you know, you have to go in there and say the number 1. And it was just like, I honestly don't, and I feel like we didn't get a proper explanation about why. Like, she went in and she was like, "I don't know, I'm sorry, I just did it." Like,
Mhm.
I mean, we were talking. I genuinely feel like she was the front runner to win this thing, and then just out of nowhere blocks Jadeja, and she's third.
Yeah, the probably the biggest mystery of this season for me, until we get some kind of an answer, hopefully in some shape or form, because I don't know why this was the decision that was made here. I feel like, we said this, but the Gianna and Rachel connection is just way too strong to let be two of the final five. It just is.
Yep, 100%. Man, just like that, Jadeja's out. I also love Jadeja's reaction, which is just like, not like, yeah, she'll hug her, but, like, she's not just gonna let her, get away with it. Like, she's like, she's mad, she's gonna let Madeline have it a bit here. And this, I appreciated this attitude.
I mean, and this felt like the beginning of
Yeah.
the people turning on Madeline. By episode's end, I just felt bad for Madeline. But yeah, she didn't let her go off easy, but compared to the other stuff, I feel like she kind of got let off easy.
A little bit, yeah. So that was, I mean, that was pretty much it. I do feel like there's a period in the middle of the finales where I'm like, all right, can we get to the final thing already? We do, of course, have their final ratings. I don't know if there was anything that, like, particularly stood out to you in these ratings, but to me, honestly, I think maybe part of the reason why I was a little checked out is because the second that Jadeja went out, I was like, oh, I mean, it's hard to predict the circle, but, like, it's gotta be Gianna, right? Like, that it's gotta be Gianna. Like, it's hard to see the world where it was not Gianna.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. I felt like truly there's one of two winners here. Um, it's either Gianna or it's Madeline, and this had to do a lot with how much of them we've seen on the show throughout this journey. And I just didn't see it from Madeline after Jadeja leaves. So to me, it left it to be probably Gianna. And also, let's just fast forward to the reunion. I'm ready for the reunion. I'm ready for the dinner. So I didn't expect it. And now looking at the result, I'm like, yeah, nothing changed. That's how you know what the result was.
Yeah, it felt pretty straightforward to me. It was mostly just like, who do I think is gonna come in, like, the next spots? I figured Tierra was probably gonna be last, as it tends to happen. And then I did think Rachel was gonna be a lot closer, I will say.
Mm.
Rachel being fourth was a bit of a surprise to me. I figured Madeline would be below Rachel, but she did squeeze into there. And then I also thought Kevin would be a little. I thought it would be Gianna, Rachel, like Kevin Madeline, or Madeline Kevin, and then Tierra at the end. But both Madeline and Kevin jump over Rachel, and now thinking about it, because I keep forgetting how necessary those, like, number 1 ratings are. I think Madeline, and Kevin giving each other number 1s probably really helps, and then Tierra, must have, or, I don't know, somewhere along the line, somebody tanked Rachel, right? And I would imagine that comes from Kevin?
I would think so, right? I would think so. Kevin probably giving her the next, like, because if everyone else, if out of the 5, 4 of them had number 1 ratings, then it's like, okay, who had the most number 2 ratings? Who had the most number 3 ratings? And I have to imagine Rachel had the most 4s, or maybe 1 5 amongst the 4s or something.
Maybe it was Madeline. I mean, she makes, weird decisions sometimes. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out what the ratings are. But this is one where I was like, I didn't feel like I needed to do a lot of forensic analysis. It was like, yeah, obviously Gianna wins this.
Yeah. Yeah. Once this is the result, I feel like that's a safe thing to do and move into.
Yeah. So then we get to the meeting, the final circle chat in person. And starts with Kevin and Madeline, the only 2 non-catfish remaining, which is fine. I listen, I still feel like I like it more when they don't announce who's coming,
Agreed.
but I will admit, I do think there are some advantages, in the sense that, like, it can happen immediately. Everyone can have an immediate reaction as opposed to, like, a confused reaction and then a reaction, which might be a little, if you're, like, looking for the whatever. But, either way, it seems like it's here to stay. I thought this was a very fun, little reunion-y thing, for many reasons. We had, like, the friends being, reunited. "Oh, Kevin and Madeline, we're both genuine. I'm so happy we connected. It was so real for us." Cut to 5 minutes later. And, and then, they have, it was Tiara comes in next, and you know, again, unfortunately, it wasn't a whole lot there for Tierra in terms of content. I was like, "Oh man, you're not who we thought you were."
Hmm. Yeah. Again, I feel like just maybe you push Tierra to come in episode 4. Like, you didn't need to wait that long.
Yeah,
For me, I can't think of many late entrants that have stuck with me, with the exception of James, but that's because James went on to win the season.
yeah,
Um,
James crushed.
yeah. So
Um, so yeah, Tierra comes in. Then we get Deb, good old Deb, walking in. And everyone's like, "Ah, we knew it," because I mean, let's be, everyone caught Deb.
yeah, the worst kept secret of the circle.
But so they save, the best for last, and I think this works because, like, you really think that, like, that Rachel, aka Deb, is, like, the big catfish surprise, and, like, you're maybe bringing in Gianna to, like, come in and be shocked about Rachel, and then, in come these 2 bros from Staten Island, like, "Hey, what's up, guys?"
This was perfect because I think they did a really good job of not coming off as a catfish, for one. And even if anybody had at any point thought about it, I don't think they could have cooked this up. Is that 2 Staten Island identical twins operating the Gianna account? No one's thinking that's happening.
I just can't imagine. Like, I know what my reaction was when I first saw them and heard them talk to each other,
Mhm.
just with no previous context coming in. To have thought that you were talking to Gianna this whole time and through text for, God knows how long. Uh, and then they come in and it's these 2 guys like, "Hey, bro, what's up, Kevin? Oh, Kevin, we were really having a tough time talking to you." Wait, are these real people? Wait, who was I talking to?
Right. They're so disarming in person as well, worth saying. Like, immediately everyone's putty in their hands. You if you were shown this reunion and then said, "Who do you think won?" You would pick them. I feel like they were commanding the entire room.
Yeah, and they were, like, telling the story of the season, like, I mean, they it's almost like they knew they had won. I think they probably did. Like, I think
Mhm.
everyone might have known that they had won at that point, except for maybe Madeline, I guess. Um, but, we did also miss there was one last circle chat after, Jadeja, put in her goodbye message, which was, and this to me felt like a calculated way of taking a shot at one last shot at Gianna to maybe stop Gianna from going away with this thing. To be like, "Hey, the person who blocked me, they just made, they just locked in their win, it's definitely going in their favor." Um, I felt like she was not talking about Madeline, right? Like, she was talking about Gianna. She was telling
Mm.
Madeline, like, "Hey, get revenge for us, prevent Gianna from winning." And then in her message, she was trying to imply that it was Gianna that blocked her and that Gianna was just gonna run away with this thing and win. Um, and then again, Madeline assumes like, "Oh, no, would people think this is me? I need to throw something out there and deny that this is me." And it makes it so obvious that it's her, and everyone knows it's her now.
I think this is probably the biggest problem with playing the mischievous deception game, devious game, especially if you are very sensitive to it and you think about it a lot. Because half of when people talk about playing a deceptive game in any reality show, it's you have to believe your own lie so much so that you think it's true, so you don't give it off as anything but. But I think Madeline's done a second time now where because you've done a lot of shady stuff, you're like, is this about me? Damage control. Damn it. I knew this was going to happen. We're ready. Break the glass. It's emergency time.
Yeah,
So,
there's no world where anyone should have thought it was Madeline that became the secret super influencer, and, especially with, the one thing you could say is that with Jadeja leaving, you would hope that you'd hope and assume that it was Gianna that became super secret influencer one last time, because you knew that they had some issues. And then she lost even that, it seemed. Everyone seems to immediately recognize, yeah, this reaction makes me think it's probably her.
what can you do at that point?
What can you do? So, um this is all fun. "Oh, man, I can't believe it's you 2." Deb is like, "Oh, are we still gonna be friends?" Like, "Of course." Like, we're still allies. We're Staten Island. Um, and then we start bringing in the blocked players, and this is when it gets even more fun because, Savannah comes in like, "Oh, hey, everyone." And then, Andy comes in, Heather. And it's like, "Oh, wow, what?" And every single person reacts to the twins one by one. And this honestly is like, I would say, maybe how it should have been. Twins should have been first. Get one by one reactions to the twins each time because I enjoyed the one by one reactions to the twins more than I did all four of them reacting at the same time.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. I think that's probably the better play. They can definitely shift this one around. I feel like this for the formatting for the end, I'm okay with you having okay, this person's coming in next, just generally for the people in the game, not the quote unquote eliminated people. But I think there's a way to make this better overall so that we have the maximize your appearances, especially because, note to anybody that's going to go for the circle in the future. If you are one of the first two people at the reunion, the rest are catfish. Like, make no mistake, you're the only two real people there. The catfish are gonna come later.
Yeah. So everyone's reacting to the two of them like, "Oh my god." And then Darian comes in and I'm just waiting. I'm just
Mhm.
waiting. When is he gonna tell Kevin? When is he gonna tell him? And he doesn't tell him yet. And then Jadeja comes in, and she's definitely still mad, and I love it. And Madeline's like, "Hey guys, guess who the secret super? Who was the secret super influencer? Does anyone know?" Like, no. It was me, and they're like, "Ah, yeah, we knew that."
It felt a little weird because it was one of those things where it's like you're bringing up your own accomplishment, so it gets talked about. It'd be like if you said, everyone, who does all the Big Brother podcasts on this network? Oh, that's right, I do. It's like, Taran, we knew that. You didn't need to do that. You didn't need to bring it up yourself, you know?
Well, I will say an effective way of preventing anyone from preemptively saying your name, right? Because if somebody else is like, "Who do we think was the secret super influencer?" And people are like, "Oh, well, we kind of thought it was Madeline," and she's like, "Yeah, it was me." Like it's not as good of a moment. But if she asks the question, it's much harder to be like, "Well, we thought it was you, but you're asking us." Right? So like she has a much better chance of getting crickets and then being like, "It was me. Nobody said my name."
Mhm.
But unfortunately for her, she then got a bunch of people being like, "Yeah, yeah, we thought so."
Yeah, it's not what you want to hear.
What are you gonna do? Um, so uh we eventually finally start getting to some secret reveals here. And Darian brings it up. He says, my bro, you were my number one, and I was the disruptor. I made you the influencer, and you didn't have my back, man. And at this point, I'm waiting for Kevin to be like, "Oh my god," but he still is like, "Yeah, but you did me dirty first." I'm like, how are you not seeing this? Are you for real right now? And he goes on to his like, my most trusted person was Madeline, and she told me, dude, like, I'm sorry, but I found out, and they're all just like, no, she lied, and Matt is like, yeah, I made that up. I lied about it, and the color drains from his face. Like,
Yep.
he spends the rest of the finale just like, oh my god.
Little naive Kevin. He was not living for this moment. I think in the world he had fixed up, he just never in a million years thought this would have been possible. Whereas a lot of other people saw it as a lie, not Kevin. So he was truly blindsided in this moment.
I mean, and I think this is like, I think the thing that really, and I could be wrong, but it felt to me like the thing that really nailed him here was not that he like made a bad call or betrayed Darian, right? It was more so
Mhm.
that like all season long, he was known as the schemer. He was the guy who was wheeling and dealing, betraying allies, doing what he had to do to get there. He talked about like, man, like I didn't realize that, like this person was scheming like I was. Like he I think really saw himself as the schemer of the season. And to find out that he got that bad by Madeline. And then Madeline's also like, yeah, and then I also lied, like I lied about the Darian thing, and then I also lied about the Andy thing, and then I also swapped profiles over here. And then yes, I also had done this. It was like I wasn't even in the conversation. I was just another duped person by this, and we were just talking about how we were like real with each other.
No, you got scammed, is what happened. I felt bad for Madeline. I feel like it went from like everyone being like, it's a game, we're having a good time to, oh, but you did that. That's not a game. That's not cool. It took Madeline being on the verge of tears that kind of made everyone stop.
Except
Um,
for Jadesha.
oh, she was like, this isn't going to work on me.
She's like,
Absolutely not.
are we really feeling bad for the person that like duped all of us here? Like, what are you sad about? Like, own it.
It doesn't help that they don't know what the results of the results are yet, because I guarantee you, had she not won, they'd ease up on her.
Right.
I think if she won, they're like, okay, yeah, you don't get to cry because you just got all the money, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Jadesha's sitting there like, oh, congratulations, you took out all these people. Like, hope it works out for you. Like, um, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely like awkward, and I would say in a good way for entertainment.
Yeah, I was okay with it. You do need a level of bitterness in these shows, because otherwise, if everyone, we just spent the whole season celebrating this and talking about how it's not a happy circle family, everyone loves each other. You need a little bit of resistance in the relationships, and I think this was the perfect way for it to go. And I have to imagine they're all friends now. Hopefully.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe we'll find out in
maybe
the
find
future.
out. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I thought this was a really fun sort of like little mini reunion thing with some drama, and Heather steps in, sweetheart as she is, and is like, oh, I get it, like, and Madeline informed me that she rated me middle of the pack. She's like, yeah, I lied about that too. I rated you last. She's like, I mean, I get, and then they explain the profile swapping, and okay, I get that you had to do what you had to do, and it's like, oh, Heather, she really didn't have to. It was really could have been Kevin. And so I thought it was a good time, and then we get to the final ratings, the final rankings.
Yeah. So Tierra last place
Yep.
again. Not that big of a shock. Then we had Rachel in fourth, Madeline in third. The final two, once again, one last time, last hurrah. Gianna's your winner.
Just like that. And very fitting. Like I said, I think that really the second that Jadeja was blocked, this felt inevitable, and deserved. I thought that they played really well. I thought they were very funny to watch. This was definitely a season where it felt like this was their season, and they really crushed it here.
Yeah, no, hands down, very dominant game. They literally right place, right time with that first disruptor power. They go for it. They get safety. And then from there on, they were able to pivot away from the rest of the game and kind of fly high and never really have to go down low. So,
Yeah. And I mean that's the finale. I mean, overall, I think the season really worked. And I don't know. I feel like I keep thinking this about the circle, and then it goes away and it comes back, and I'm like, more circle already. I think it is just kind of like how often they run it, that kind of fatigues me a little bit. But like, I really enjoyed the season of the circle. Like, I was like looking forward to the episodes. I think the cliffhangers are still a huge problem. I think that there are still some things here and there, that I don't love. I think the game itself is a little flawed in terms of entertainment value. Like the fact that I didn't really care about the winner heading in was like, yeah, maybe a little bit of an issue for the long term. But overall, I think it has a lot of good potential for interesting and fun moments, lots of things to play around with. And I think that this season showed us some new stuff that, you start introducing more devious players, and more like aggressive gameplay, and things get even messier and more fun. And so, yeah, I liked it.
yeah, I really did too. I feel like this is probably the first time in a long time that I would say that the both seasons that we got this year were very, very good. I don't think I can say this for many other years unless
Mhm.
we go all the way back to that first year. We got a Circle UK potentially. Like that 1-2 punch of season 1 and season 2
Yeah.
of the UK really stand out. But this was a lot of fun. I agree with you. I think it's not even the frequency to which we get it, because we get 2 seasons of Survivor a year and I get invested in both. I think it really for me comes down to the fact that we're doing batches, which is, I know it's the online model. I'm fine with that at this point, but the cliffhangers don't help that. And then the finale being a week removed and alone is not the move. I think the way you need to do this is, if you want it to be its own event, you drop the episodes. When are we dropping these? Monday, right? Like, sorry, Tuesday? No, Wednesday.
Wednesdays.
Yeah. Drop Wednesday. The finale is that Sunday, 8 p.m. live. You know what I mean? Like they've done this with some of the other shows, and even then it hasn't hit quite the same. But I think you either have to bundle the finale with like one more episode, so maybe make it 4-4-3-2.
I mean,
I don't know.
I just think the batches, they're just not great. Like, like the way that The Circle originally aired in the UK was a model of television that is like tried and tested. It
Mhm.
works for Love Island really well. It's called something specifically, uh, where an episode is on like every day. It's there's like a specific term for it that I can't think of, but
BBUK does it the same way. A
yeah.
lot of soap operas do it this way, where it's
It's how Big Brother
yeah.
started, where it was
Mm.
like daily show.
Mhm.
And it's kind of running, concurrently with the Daily Show, where it's like, here's the latest today that happened in the circle. And that worked. I think that fit the formula for the circle a lot better than batches do,
Mhm.
in the UK. And granted, the UK version failed, for whatever reason. So, maybe they shouldn't be taking cues from that, but I think that works a lot better to keep your involvement there, your investment in the show, that, like, it's just running all the time, and, you can g like, even if it's just, like, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 episodes per week on those days, it's just I feel like that works better. You can, like, schedule it out. It becomes a little bit more of an event as opposed to, like, it can sometimes, I think, when shows are released in batches, sometimes to me they feel like homework, whether or not I'm covering them. Like, this happens with other shows too. It's like, you gave me 4 episodes, and in order for me to talk about this show or read about this show in any way, I need to watch all 4 of them, which means, because like, that's a huge part of enjoying some of these shows, depending on what kind of show you're watching, is like, do I get to engage with it at all? Do I get to talk about it? Do I get to read about people's opinions about it? It's like, well, yes, but you have to watch all 4 episodes before next week if you wanna do that. It's like, that's so much work to do. And sure, you could say that, like, if it's on every day, you could fall behind very easily, but it just feels very different. It's a lot easier to,
Oh
like,
yeah.
stay current.
Like having just watched Love Island USA on a daily, the engagement is phenomenal. You get to see things happen live. There's a lot of discourse that happens with the batch shows. You can do one of two things. You either watch all of it that first day and then use look at the Twitter discussions and everything, or you just don't engage with the social stuff and you just go on your own pace, but you stay offline, you mute the hashtags, because there are people that'll just watch it all in one go. And that's the thing I hate the most, is that everyone is like in different places in their watching experience. Whereas with the one episode a night, most of us are on the same page. Most of us finished it at around 11 p.m. and we're talking about the episode now. And I think that's better for your overall brand and engagement.
I agree, and I think a huge part of, for me at least, why I don't remember a lot of the details from previous seasons is because of this model. I can remember the details of both season 1 and 2 of the UK edition of this show, and even bits of the celebrity version. Like, I remember those seasons. I remember Chubby and Joey and the kiss. There's very little else I remember from season I mean, that's and I mostly like, I feel like I have the vague sense of season 1. I couldn't even tell you what season 2 was or who was in it. Was that the Savannah Terralicia one? I'm not
Yes.
sure. I don't remember who won that season. I just remember Savannah and Terralicia. I think it might have been the woman who was catfishing as her husband. That might have been that
Yeah.
season,
And then he came and
and then he
onto
came
the show
later.
later. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But, like, I remember, like, step by step, like, a lot of the people from season 1 of the UK, a lot of the people from season 2 of the UK. um, and who won and how and why and like, oh man. And yes, there are fewer of those for sure, but like, I have a hard time sometimes remembering some of what happened in the last season that I just watched, and I think it's because it's of the release schedule. And I think that Netflix needs to be a little more open to different kinds of release schedules because I do think the daily airing is a lot better. You could go with weekly. The thing about daily airing too is that I think it fixes the cliffhanger problem. Like cliffhangers still would be annoying, yes, but when you know it's just like tune in tomorrow to find out who got blocked, like you're still much more in it than like a week later you finally
Right.
watch the beginning of it. So yeah, I think the release schedule is a huge problem,
Yeah.
having gone through it this many times now.
And I mean, doing the daily drop means that if someone is more of a I'd rather binge it, they'll just let them collect and then binge it later. I think there's definitely
Exactly.
people out there who do prefer the binge model. This is a weird hybrid that I think neither side is satisfied with. The
Yep.
bingers aren't satisfied with, the dailies aren't satisfied with. A solution can be found, but the good news is that I enjoyed every batch we did this season.
Yep.
So I the content was top tier.
Yeah, I think at this point for me, it's like the complaint comes from the fact that I just feel like this show is being underserved. I feel like this
Hmm.
season was really good and the content was really fun, and I feel like why isn't The Circle doing better as as a show? And I mean, it's doing fine. It's in its 7th season. I mean, it's crushing in terms of like, how long these shows can sometimes last, which is
Yeah.
not that long. But I feel like it still has even more potential. I feel like it really could be a higher tier show in this community. And I think there are some key points holding it back right now. And so it would be cool if they fix those. But in the meantime, I'm happy to just get more Circle when it comes.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. Don't rush a good thing. Let it marinate. I'm saying for my personal schedule, I'll see you in 2025. Circle, please.
Yeah.
Don't push another one out soon.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Puya. Anything else as we wrap up our talk of the finale here?
Not really. I feel like we've already addressed everything we wanted to address. I had a great time, great winner, great cast. I said this from week one. I really was connecting with the cast, and they only delivered all the way through. So shout out to them. It was a fun time. Think of the journey. And yeah, that's all about all I've got here.
Well, there it is. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us all season long on The Circle season 7 as we covered it here concurrently with Big Brother and Survivor. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found some time for it as well. And in the meantime, check out our Big Brother and Survivor coverage. While The Circle is away, we cover lots of reality shows over here. So you can just subscribe to the channel and you'll be informed when things pop up. We also cover scripted TV over at RHAP and We Know Scripted TV. We talk about all kinds of good shows over there. And if you're interested in finding me talking about whatever or playing games, I'm over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. Puya is also over there on Twitch.
Hell yeah, twitch.tv/Pooya, doing things over there every weekend, sometimes midweek. Come check me out. And then as far as how the podcasts go, 90 Day Fiance, we got Mass Singer, we have got Traders Canada. So far, so good. All of them. Fun times are being had. So if you check those out, or find me on Twitter, twitter.com or at Puyism. That's where I am.
All right. Well, that's it then. Thank you all so much for joining us here this season on The Circle. And we will see all of you in the next one.